Right, we know that this picture's from a piece of sky that's been apparently censored out of Google Sky, and it's about the Revelation 12 sign. So I've done another video on it, look at that if you want more detail. I was doing another video recently and I put a little bit of film in of a Torah code I've had it on my computer for ages, and I decided to put it in a video, and I noticed something on it when I was watching it back after I'd actually made the film. And it was about the Shumacher levy comet that hit Jupiter in 1994. And it suddenly dawned on me what all this Nibiru planet and Planet X was all about. It's been all over internet, all over YouTube for ages, years. There's even films going back into 1950s on about when worlds collide and things like that. So it's been known about for a long time. And I've always thought, oh yeah, so what? But now I'm thinking, well, if there is something being taken out of Google Sky and it's got all to do with NASA, and Vatican have got infrared telescopes, and there's infrared telescopes in Antarctica looking into the skies, why are they looking in infrared spectrum, and why is that piece being taken out and apparently censored out of Google Sky? And why are the stories about these elites that we all know about, even though they pretend they don't exist, that seem to be making underground bases or places to hide? And also, why has there been a lot of visits by world leaders and religious leaders to Antarctica, you know, the South Pole? Why would you want to go there? It's all very well documented. You could find out that information so easily and find out exactly who's been down there, what telescopes have got down there, what leaders have been there, what religious leaders have been there. So it's redundant going on about that. Oh, and Buzz Aldrin's been there. The moon landing Buzz Aldrin, in case you don't know. And the same Buzz Aldrin that says that there's a monolith on Phobos, which is one of the moons of Mars. Like the one from the Arthur C. Clarke book and film, 2001: A Space Odyssey. And while we can't actually know what is actually out there, whether there's another planet, the information is that this planet is 10 times bigger than Earth, on mass that is, and that it's shrouded in dust and it's black, so you can't see it in the visible spectrum. It only shows up on infrared. Now if we think about the Revelation 12 sign, we've got Jupiter moving out of Virgo, and it's going right towards that bit of black space that we see on Google Sky. And if there is something coming and there's a collision between this planet and Jupiter. Jupiter's a gas giant. It's got a large mass. It's got loads of moons. I don't know what would actually happen because I'm not a sciencey guy, but the planet is a gas giant and it's almost the sun apparently. So whether it'd ignite it because its gravitational mass would go up, or whether there'd just be some kind of huge explosion, I don't know. But on the day that Jesus was crucified, there was a 3-hour eclipse and an earthquake. Now, a lunar eclipse can only last 7 minutes and about 30 seconds because, you know, the moon's quite small. So to get a 3-hour eclipse, you'd need some planetary body between us and the sun that was quite a lot bigger, and that would depend on distance between us and the sun as to how long the eclipse lasted and how much totality that there was. But it's a bit of an indicator that there was something there because, you know, we believe, and if we had a large body 10 times our mass or more between us and the sun, or anywhere near us, the gravitational pull would actually cause earthquakes of all kinds of magnitude. Depends on its proximity. In the book of Daniel, it says that some of the things are sealed up for basically later, and it's not getting much later than this. It's sort of end times time. So knowledge is increasing, which is mentioned in the book of Daniel basically, and that looks like what's happening because we've learned about this Revelation 12 sign. We've learned about this alleged 12th planet. Nobody knew anything about this Revelation 12 sign until Scott Clark discovered it in 2011, around about that time. Look at his YouTube channel. Let's have a quick look at Genesis, and you can see that it's pretty clear that God's put the stars in the heavens not just to look nice, they're for signs and for times. I ran a simulation on this software, the solar system, and I'm assuming that something's going to hit Jupiter. Obviously we don't know, but if something does hit it, it's going to be heading towards the inner solar system, towards the sun and all the planets around it. So you've got to assume that it'd keep some of its momentum and kind of go in that kind of direction, along with all the debris. And also it's passed through the asteroid belt that runs between Jupiter and Mars, and it'd be dragging all kinds of things with it. And that'd be a bit like a shotgun, I should imagine, heading towards the sun and all the planets around there. And one of them planets would definitely intercept it. And you've got to bear in mind that Earth's doing 65,000 miles an hour. So even if something was stationary, we'd run into it pretty fast. And if Jupiter doesn't get hit and something is coming along towards the sun from the direction of Jupiter, it's still going to have a lot of gravity, and it's going to go through the asteroid belt, and it's going to be dragging a lot of stuff along with it, probably colliding with things. We have no idea how fast this object's going, so it could take a long time to get here. It could be 2 years, 3 years, 4, 7, we just don't know. But we do know that if multiple asteroids impact Earth, it's going to be quite bad. And it depends how big they are, of course, and how fast they're going and what they're made out of. And if we look at his Bible, it does actually mention this kind of an event. Yeah, and that looks pretty bad, really. You wouldn't want to be on Earth when that's happening. The interesting thing is that in verse 12 there, it's the third part of the sun's smitten, so it's darkened by the look of it. That had happened with all the dust, both in the Earth's atmosphere and actually in space as well. And there's a bit of Luke. I think that sums it up. You would be scared, men's hearts failing them for fear. And if we have a quick look back at Revelation, we'll see that the sea gets turned to blood. And the interesting thing is that in Revelation chapter 11, there's 2 witnesses that turn up that have the power to shut heaven, a couple of other things, including making the water into blood. It'd be a good idea to read Book of Revelation. It has a special blessing in it that you get just by reading the book. And right at the end of it, or near the end of it, there's a dire warning about not messing with the word of God. We have to take this seriously. If God's put a sign there, it's not a non-sign. That would be pointless, and it wouldn't be a sign, it'd just be nothing. We don't need to be in fear of this. Fear's for the other people that won't understand what's going on. The first they'll hear about it is astronomers will see a flash in the sky, or they'll see it possibly visible from Earth. And sooner or later they'll find out that there's billions and billions of tons of fragments heading towards Earth, and there's nothing they can do about it. We need to focus on what's coming afterwards, which is us being in heaven. God's going to have a job for us. We're not going to be playing harps on clouds. This Earth's going to need rebuilding, and it's probably going to be us that's helping. There's a concept in the Bible called the blessed hope, and it's there to reassure us. We can use it to reassure each other. That's the purpose of it. 1,000 years ago, they didn't realise when this revelation sign was going to appear in the heavens, and they still had to have that blessed hope that one day they'd get raptured before they died. God wasn't going to take the blessed hope off them by telling them, no, it's not now, it's in year 2017. God wouldn't do that to them. That would remove the blessed hope. That's why these things are getting revealed now to us, so we can get ready. For those that don't understand and don't see the signs and don't believe in the Bible and its prophecies, this is going to come like a thief in the night, which is what Jesus said was going to happen. They're just not going to be ready for it when it happens. You just make sure that you're ready.